You've just stepped into the Buzzy's Country Store podcast, part-time porch talk, part-time therapy session, and all heart. I'm Chief Larry, and along with your host, J. Scott Ridgell, we're serving up real stories with a Buzzy's twist.
Hello, welcome to the Buzzy Podcast. This is part 2 with Captain Bob Mann. Notice I said Captain Bob Mann. And we're going to get into that. We're going to pick up from when you retired 2012? No,
2011, actually. So.
2011. Okay, so explain how you, was Tommy in your class?
No.
Tommy Courtney.
Tommy Courtney was at Great Mills.
Right.
And when I graduated from Lexington Park Elementary School, the 7th grade was actually at Great Mills High School. So I moved down to Great Mills High School. Tommy was there with my sister's class 3 years ahead of me.
Okay.
So so they graduated in 64, and I graduated in 67. So I was 3 years behind. So
what was the reason to go to? Were they working on the school? Or?
Yeah, they were working on Esperanza. They started this middle school system, and the first one that we had was Esperanza Middle School.
Right.
And at the in December, at the Christmas break of 1961 or 2, I can't remember. When we came back, we didn't go back to Great Mills. We came back from Christmas break and went to Esperanza.
Oh, I see.
So that was the first.
So
I was in the first class.
You met
Esperanza.
Tommy.
I met Tommy at Great Mills in the 7th when I was in the 7th grade. He was in my sister's class. Now,
Wait a minute now. Your sister's younger.
No, I have 2 sisters.
Oh.
My older sister.
All right.
So she was in the class with Tommy and Bubby Knott and all that stuff. So
you knew him? Did you know him then, or you
a
just,
little bit?
Little bit.
But you know how it was when you were in your class. You were good friends with your classmates, and all those other people were trying to.
Yeah, in 7th grade, and 3 years later is a big gap.
Yeah,
in school.
and so I knew him a little bit more when he was a senior and when I was in the 9th grade full time at Great Mills. But I got to meet Tommy a bit more after we were both out of college, when he got back from Vietnam, and when I was running around with some of the boys down here in Ridge, and we'd run into Tommy because Tommy was a party animal at some point.
I got pictures of him here with. He was one of Buzzy's main guys.
So I got to know him a little bit there. We did some bar hopping and stuff like that, but it wasn't really a close relationship, but it was an acquaintance,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Well, then
what happened? Okay, what happened was that I was down at Tommy's. I'd been going down there for dinners and stuff in later life, you know, and in 2011, I was down there, and Julie came up to me and was mad as hell about Tommy going out in the water. It was like cold out there. I mean, it was like, this was February, and he just put his gill net out, and she didn't want him going out by himself, and he didn't have any help. He was just going out by himself, and if he'd have fallen over, it would have been the end. And so she was worried about him going out, and I said, well, listen, I'm totally retired now. What if I come down and go out with him? She said, oh, would you please do that? And I said, okay. So I told Tommy, we were sitting up front, and I said, Tommy, I'm coming down to go out fishing with you tomorrow. And he looked at me and said, what? Why would I want you to come fishing with me? Your old job was to sit on your ass all day.
I can hear him.
And what do you think you can do for me? And I said, well, I didn't want to tell him what I can do for him is pull him back in if he falls overboard.
Yeah.
But I just said, well, I just wanted to try it and stuff. And he's, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, I came down the next morning at 6 o'clock, cold as could be, and I said,
white
well,
boots? Did you get
Tommy gave me a pair of white boots, and gave me the slickers and all that, and he said, well, I'll let you go this time, but that's it. You know, I'm not gonna, I can't put up with you, out there in the boat. You're gonna cost me time, and so I went out with him, and I had no idea the amount of work you had to do. I think he had a pound net that we were finishing up doing. when we got back in, I was cold, icicles coming down my face, and I just said, thank God Tommy doesn't want me to go out with him anymore. So this is it. So as I'm walking back to my car, Tommy says, hey, Bobby, come here. You did pretty good today. You can come out tomorrow.
Oh, you passed the test. He was interviewing you.
And that lasted for 8 years.
8 years, yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, well, I got the hat. 8 years with Tommy Courtney.
Anyway.
Well,
yeah.
then you also, as they started the automation of the reporting of the
Right.
the computerization of stuff, you kind of took that over for him too.
Yeah, well,
Which
it's not that I took it over for him because he wasn't doing it at all.
probably shouldn't have said that.
The Department of Natural Resources had a couple of meetings that we went to, Willie Dean and Tommy and me, and Tommy always asked me to go with him to that. So if he wanted something to say, he'd whisper it to me, and then I'd bring it up in the meeting or something. And so I would do the communications with the people and stuff, and they were asking everybody to do all this electronic reporting and also carrying smartphones. And I've told the lady that was in charge of this, I said, ma'am, a lot of these watermen don't have smartphones. Like Tommy does not have a smartphone. He can't do this log in, log out, and recording all the data and
Right.
all. So I was kind of the go-between, and Willie Dean would go to these a lot, and so I started doing that for Tommy,
Right.
and believe it or not, I'm still doing it. He's passed away, but I'm still doing it. I got Willie Dean's fish reports last night, so I was doing those for him. The check-in reports
Right.
that's still being done down at Tommy's.
Explain that, how Tommy and Willie were check-in points that people would have to come in and.
Willie wasn't a check-in
wasn't.
station, but Tommy was a check-in station, so that all the Maryland fishermen that have Maryland rockfish tags are required to check their catch-in where they're weighed and counted, and before they can, go out and sell them or whatever. So Tommy was a check station, and the reason Tommy did that is he didn't want to have to check any fish. He didn't want to have to go somewhere to check his own fish, so he would. So that's what it was. And Willie Dean would bring his fish down there, and Tommy would weigh them, and then.
And then you report monthly?
No, daily. When
Daily?
When somebody brings a load of fish in, I mean, Bobby Lumpkins, for instance, so quite often would bring in, 200, 300 fish and a whole bunch of pounds of fish, and you check them in every day.
Whoa, I didn't know it was daily.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's as needed because they didn't bring them in every day.
They don't fish every day.
Yeah,
So
gotcha. I see. I see.
So whenever they do fish, they're supposed to bring them in.
And then that was done electronically
Yeah.
through the phone.
Not through the phone. I do it through my computer.
The computer, right. What about, tell the story, you told me one day you called Tommy a curmudgeon. And
No, I didn't call him that.
Oh, you did?
What happened, I was down there at about 5 in the morning. We were having breakfast, getting ready to go out, and Tommy was livid.
Being Tommy.
Oh, my. He said, that sucker, I should have thrown him out of the restaurant. And I said, Tommy, calm down. What's going on? He said, that sucker is doing a report, a article on me for some magazine. And he just gave me a copy of his report, what he was going to file. And he referred to Tommy as an old curmudgeon.
Oh, okay.
And Tommy was livid. He said, I'm never going to let him come back in the store again. And then Tommy's eating his breakfast. He says, by the way, Bob, what is a curmudgeon? And I said, well, it's a crotchety old fart that, and I said, it probably fits you, Tommy. But anyway, I said, I don't think it's that bad. Well, anyway, so we go out and fish and do our thing. And then the next morning I'm in there bright and early, and Tommy's in a good mood. And he said, oh, by the way, I looked up curmudgeon in the dictionary, and I am one. So he was happy with that. But,
he probably, like you said, it probably wasn't as bad as it sounded.
yeah. So he was happy then.
There's another story I remember you telling me that he was out there one day and he said, I love being out here. And you said, what? You never heard Tommy say something that positive? And he said, and you made him repeat it.
Yeah.
You remember this? And
there was a couple of things. I'm not sure if this is the one or not, but he was somebody in the state Department of Natural Resources had a team of photographers and stuff that do stories on Maryland businesses and stuff, and they sent him to Tommy to go out and fish. And we were in the boat. Tommy wanted me to go with him, and we were going out, and he's sitting in the back, and I said, I'm going to obviously have to intercede because Tommy's not going to talk to this guy. So Tommy's quiet as could be, not saying anything, and I'm getting them in the boat and getting them set up where they can take pictures from, and we're going out, and Tommy's all of a sudden says, see if I get it straight. He says, there's two things that I love about coming. I love coming out here, but there's two things that I don't think about when I come out here: money and women.
I remember.
And I went, oh no, he's starting to talk to this guy, and it's probably not going to be pretty. But it went well.
Well, and I'll find that video because that was a great line.
It was. It turned out great, and it was perfect for the video, and it fit Tommy pretty well.
Yeah,
too.
That's a great video.
Yeah,
and you could tell those people enjoyed going out there seeing it.
Oh yeah.
Well, you think about it. There's not too many people doing that anymore.
That's right.
Or do they even is Willie working his nets, or did he pull them, or what? I don't even.
Well, yeah, Willie's still got his nets. He's still checking rockfish in, but this year has been so bad for the watermen. There's just not been that many rockfish out there. The check-ins aren't anywhere near what they used to be, even last year. And I'm hearing that Willie might start backing off a bit from the rock fishing and stuff. It's just because a bad year can bankrupt somebody.
Hard work.
It's hard work, and it's a lot of money involved, and they're working on thin margins. All the watermen do.
Sure.
And I never knew that until I started working with Tommy to see how vicious it could be.
How really thin it is.
A bad year can knock you right out.
Speaking of Willie, tell your when you knew that you'd finally arrived, or you'd made it as a waterman.
Yeah, well,
and that's why I introduced you as I did.
It was I forget where we were. It might have been at one of the Department of Natural Resources meetings or something, and I think Willie introduced me as Captain Bob, and I go, and I didn't. I mean, it took me by shock because everybody calls themselves Captain Tommy, Captain Willie, and all of a sudden I'm Captain Bob, and I said, I must have made it. I'm here because I'd been working with Tommy for about 6 years at that point, so they finally called me Captain Bob. So I guess I'm an absolute waterman now. So
there you go. You still got your white boots?
I do.
You still have them? Somebody asked me the other day, why are they all white? Why do they wear white? What's the story on why?
I don't know why they're white, but I will tell you one thing. When I first started working with Tommy, I went up to Tractor Supply and I bought a pair of what I thought were good boots. They were really nice looking boots and stuff. And within a year, they'd sprung leaks all over the place. I mean, but the white boots that Tommy gave me never sprung a leak. They're really good boots.
Huh.
And I the only thing I can say is that's probably why, because they're good boots. They're made for what they do. They don't get poked with fish spines. They're good. They work. So anyway,
let's okay. So from Tommy, to Reuben. I always call him Reuben and the Jets, but Reuben and the Amish. How did you hook up with the Amish? Did you get a barn?
I got a barn. What happened is I bought this in 2011. I bought that property from J. Frank Raley up on Bay Forest Road. 300 acres, beautiful place.
Yeah.
And I realized rapidly that I needed a barn to put stuff in, and I found it. I went to the ag people, and they told me, no problem. You don't even need a permit. Just go ahead and put it in. So I ended up going to a guy named Dave Cross, who's a big-time barn builder for even down here. and he set me up with Reuben. He did the plans and ordered all the materials, and he set me up with Reuben and Reuben's 3 brothers.
What's Reuben's last name?
Hertzler.
Hertzler.
From Mechanicsville. And they all came down and worked for a couple of months on my barn and got it done. And over that period of time, I would come out and I asked them if I could take a few pictures and stuff, and they said, no problem. Just don't ask us to wave or to pose any pictures. Just take your pictures. I don't care. And so I took a bunch of pictures. But then as time went on, I was seeing them every day for a couple of months, and I started, bringing them stuff like oranges from Costco, and I'd give them oranges and those peanut butter pretzels, and I'd bring stuff and buy little bags of candy so they could take home for their kids and all that kind of stuff. And eventually it got to the point where they would have me drive them places if they needed more nails or something. I'd go take them to Lowe's or whatever. And also their driver couldn't pick them up one day, so I took them home and dropped them all off at their homes. And I remember going to Reuben's home, and he had like 4 kids, young, real little kids. And I pulled up in the driveway, and I got out of the car and helped him get some of his tools out of the back of my truck. And the kids who were playing in the front yard were looking at me, and they ran up into the house, and then they're looking out the windows at me, kind of eyeballing me. And then over the course of the next month or so, I took Reuben home a few more times. And then when I'd go home, I'd bring some candy for the kids or cookies or something like that. And they grew used to me. And then when they'd see my car come up, they'd come running out to the car and jump in the car, want to go for a ride and all that. So we got to be kind of friends.
Yeah.
And then Reuben asked me one day, he says, do you think you could take us on a vacation? We want to go to West Virginia to take a train ride. And I said, well, my wife's been wanting to go on a train ride. So we actually got a van and took 2 families with all the kids, like 15 of us went up to West Virginia and did some vacations and stuff. So this kind of opened the floodgates. So we've taken them on probably 5 different vacations down to North Carolina, New York, Chincoteague, all over, and we became family friends.
Well, you had them down your house and the drone. When you got the drone, they were enthralled with that.
I got the drone. I think it might have been Larry's drone that we went out, and they were taking down a big Stewart Petroleum tank, and they wanted to get some pictures of it. And I got some pictures, of the tank coming down and pulling it apart and cutting it up.
Reuben, they took it down?
Yeah, they bought a tank from Stewart Petroleum, who was selling this property. It was like a 2 million gallon tank or something, huge tank.
Yeah.
And they're cutting it up into little pieces, and cleared that whole area out where that tank transfers. It was an oil transfer station, and they use that today for their business. They make metal roofing and stuff, and
so they got it. They didn't rebuild it.
No, they didn't rebuild
they
anything.
Used it
they just cleaned the land off, and it's right next to John Hertzler's house, and they use it for their family has about 3 different businesses they run inside that area. So anyway, I got to be good friends with the Amish.
Well, you took them to New York for some was that a vacation or a job? That was a job, wasn't it? Didn't you take them up there to do some work? Or
I took them out to Iowa.
Oh, okay.
They were getting ready to get into the pellet mill business, and they wanted to go look at an Amish pellet mill in Iowa. So we all got on a train and went out there, and then I drove them around and did that. So they're almost like family to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not their official driver or anything, but the joke is I'm the Amish mafia boss for St. Mary's County. So if you need anything,
you need a barn.
If you need a barn, you need roofs, you need decks.
Call Bob.
And they even got signs made up. They showed me the signs when they went into a sign shop to get these signs made up that they could stick in the road. And it has my phone number on it. And there's one up at Butch Wood's house right now, still on the side of the road there.
With your phone number?
Yeah, with my phone number. So I became the go-to guy for, anybody down in this area that needs any work, they call me.
Well, remember when there was an accident up there, a horse and buggy got hit,
Yeah.
and you came in the store that afternoon, and somebody said if there'd been an accident, and you called.
Yeah.
And they have like a central phone or something.
Yeah, they
and
have.
They know your number.
Right. It's the oil tank. I listed it as the oil tank because there was a telephone booth that was sitting in the Stewart Petroleum area. They left that phone there, and the Amish use that to call out. The problem with calling in is that there's not anybody waiting in there to get a call. It's not like in their office or anything. It's in an outbuilding. And when I call, they know my number.
They answer.
If they're there, they'll answer. But what they do is they'll tell John or Ruben or somebody, call Bob Mann. He's wanting to get a hold of you. So that's how I can connect with them, and other people can't. Is that they know my number,
They
and
know your number.
They'll call me back.
They got your number. Well, I think that, I kind of admire you for not only putting up with Tommy all those years, and now with and you did all this gratis.
Yeah.
You basically were free labor for Tommy.
Yeah.
And then these guys, you're running around the country and all. You're a good guy, Bob.
Well, it's actually
You're going to heaven.
we would hope, but there's too many dark sides in my history.
maybe purgatory.
Maybe I'm just making up for some of it. But anyway, I enjoy being around the Amish. They're very unique people, and once you get to know them, they can be pretty funny. They have a good sense of humor.
I'll bet.
And they're mechanically, I'm getting at the age where I can't do a lot of things anymore, working on my trucks and my excavators and track loaders and stuff. They can do all of that, and they do that for me. So it's like a mutual thing. I take them around to new jobs. I'm kind of collect the new jobs for them when people call me, and then I take them to go price them out, and then whenever they need something, I pick them up and take them someplace, and it works out real well.
Yeah.
And they told me, by the way, that if anything should happen to me, they'll come down and take care of Louise at the house.
Wow.
Which, that's not a small thing, because Louise can't take care of that house by herself. It's in 300 acres. It's constantly in need of,
Any house.
cleaning ditches and, just all kinds of stuff. And they said, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it.
That's good. That's good.
Not bad.
Yeah. That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah. But they are good. When I need something, they generally drop what they're doing to come help me. So
Well, they should.
well,
It's my theory. You get what you give, and
Yeah.
you sure have given them a lot. I mean, just what the little bit I know that you've done for them.
So
Not to mention the work you've gotten them.
there is a bunch of work. They went to work for down at with Pat Adams down at Camp Brown over here. They worked there for like 6 years or something, and then I got them a job at the airport building. They didn't want to do it at first at the airport. They were looking for people to put metal buildings up, the hangars and stuff up there, and they had a lot of metal buildings and hangars. And I remember Ken Reed, the guy that was doing that, was complaining about the people he had to hire from Wisconsin to come in and fabricate all this. He had to pay per diem and buy them hotel rooms and all that kind of stuff. And he said he was losing money on it. It just wasn't panning out. And I said, well, let me bring some of my friends and we'll see. And they were really reluctant to use the Amish, but Ken said, okay, well, if you think you can do it, here, take these blueprints. Can you build these buildings according to the blueprints? And they came back and said, well, we can read blueprints, but these blueprints are wrong. There's some mistakes in it. And Ken went, what? And he called the company, and sure enough, there were mistakes. And the company said, in Wisconsin, said, have all those beams loaded up. We'll send a truck down, load them up. We'll send them back to Wisconsin. We'll fix them for you and send them back. And my Amish friend says, don't do that. We'll come pick them up, bring them up to our shop. We'll fix them and get you going again, which was what they did. So they helped a lot for doing this. And then I remember the other funny part was that Ken Reed said, Bob, I think they made a mistake on the pricing of all these hangars. And I said, well, what do you mean? He says, I don't think they can build them for what they said they're going to build them for. And I said, well, I don't get involved in their pricing or anything, but they know what they're doing. So anyway, he said, well, I don't think they're going to be able to continue working for us at that price, so I need to find out what it really is. So I got a call from Reuben one day, and he said, Bob, we made a mistake on the pricing of the hangars. And I said, oh, that's what Ken said. Ken thought you made a mistake and you need more money. He said, oh, no. We overcharged him. And I said, well, Reuben, I don't get involved in your money, but if I were you, I'd just keep it quiet and just go on about your business because Ken loves what you do. And he said, well, I don't know. Well, the next time we were together, they went and told Ken, we think we overcharged you. Ken about fell out of his chair.
I'll bet.
And said, and told him, I don't care. He said, you keep working for me, and then we'll just keep going. And that's what they did.
That's good.
But that's the Amish are so honest. It's unbelievable.
Oh, sure.
So that's the fun part of working with them too.
Yeah.
Is that
Very good. That's a good note to end on.
yeah,
Think we've covered the waterfront.
kind of until I come up with something else that I do.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And thank you.
This is Chief Larry, and if you're enjoying Jay Scott and the Buzzy's Country Store podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, you're always welcomed here at Buzzy's.